we are less than 10 days now away from Texas, Ohio State, the game that has now caused us to use the Spider-Man meme in our thumbnail. That's how similar these two teams are, and I cannot wait to talk about it. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That's Chad Hastings. We're Orange Bloods Live. Give us a thumbs up. Hop into the Specs chat. Do all those things. We do appreciate it. The game's approaching, Chad, and as we get closer, and I think a lot of this conversation today about just how similar these two teams are, it is eerie how similar these two teams are, position by position by position, and that it feels like the thing that is supposed to separate them from a Texas perspective is the quarterback position. Because really, when you do go position by position, the margins that would define which position group on either team is better than the other is subjective. I mean, I think Ohio State will go into that game feeling like their defensive line is a better defensive line than the Texas defensive line, and Texas will be like, wait till you get a load of us. These two teams are so similar. It's crazy to me. And then it means we always end up talking about quarterbacks because that's what we do, but it won't be the only thing we do today, but it's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, it's always something that can separate a football game and football teams. This is just big fight feel for me, Catch. We both like good fights and good buildups to fights. I think it's one of those that if your team gets this win, you're going to really appreciate it because of who you beat. And if you lose it and you're a sensible fan, you're going to understand who you lost to. And we're going to go over some of, like you said, some of those things that really do make them pretty even. We can argue that each maybe lost something a little bit different last year, but I think that helps to equal it out. Like one of them lost a little bit of this while the other lost a little bit of this, but I still think it kind of floats.
Well, Ohio State had a roster advantage on Texas a year ago.
Yeah.
That I still think there was a gap. And look, they won the national championship, and they were ultimately the better team in the Cotton Bowl, right? So it kind of is what it is. That gap has narrowed, though. I show those super blue chip numbers. Ohio State a year ago had the most in the country, and like roughly 50% more than Texas did. And now they're nearly identical. It is why I think this game, even at Ohio State, is so close through the eyes of Vegas. And when you inspect the rosters, and look, we'll get to quarterbacks, but I think the best position to start off at that proves when we talk about these two teams. And by the way, I cannot wait for you guys to jump into the comment section today. The Ohio State fans are here.
Dude,
welcome.
They're ready to roll. I'm trying to soak it up, Catch, because I just don't think the San Jose State fans in a couple weeks are going to feel the same. Welcome into those comments, you Ohio State folk. My God, it's been fun interacting with them this week.
I'm calling out those Spartan bastards right now. Don't you go hide when it's game week.
No. Hey, Jeff Garcia, are you out there? Let's go.
I think the Ohio State fans have been great in the comments.
They have.
And they really are. They, as much as anybody, are a real inspiration behind the conversation that we're having today because they love their team.
Yeah, they should.
And their position groups, and I mentioned the defensive line. Let's start at running back, though, because the two position groups will enter the game next week. 9 days, 22 hours, and 55 minutes. Not that we're obsessed or keeping track of such things.
No.
Give or take some seconds there. And to be fair, when actual kickoff is after that 11 o'clock thing. Texas doesn't return a scholarship running back that averaged 5 yards a carry last year. But neither does Ohio State. In fact, going into camp, there was some real thought that James Peoples would be the A guy. And Ohio State's a little bit like Texas. It seems like they're going to enter this game with a pile of guys, 3 or 4 guys that are going to be the running back crew, but none of them have any real success that screams, oh, they got that guy?
Right. Well, Catch, to the point I made earlier about one team loses things in one spot and the other in other spots. Ohio State is losing in those two guys. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. Junkins and Henderson. Over 2,000 yards, 24 touchdowns combined, 338 carries. And then Peoples had 49 carries last year and a 4-yard average. That's the truth of their running back room. That's why I lean a little more towards Texas's running back room as a whole. But when we talk about pass catchers, it's a very different story. Texas loses more. Ohio State brings back more. But to me, I think it kind of evens them out. By the time we get to kick, I got to decide who I think has the edge there. And it's damn close.
Well, the running back thing it's crazy that Ohio State and Texas, for all of the talent. And look, I realize there will be Texas fans that are like, you need to slow down on C.J. Baxter, or you're not giving Trey Wisner enough love. And look, data doesn't have feelings. They're just facts. And I know we can do that thing, one man's facts and whatever. Texas needs to get more out of its running backs. Ohio State will need to get more out of its running backs. And in week 1, they'll be doing it. A group of players that has a limited amount of success in big games. And if you go back and look at what Trey Wisner did a year ago down the stretch, I think take away that Clemson game, but look at Arizona State, look at Ohio State, look at A&M down the stretch. Wisner was able to cross that 1,000-yard mark, but man, it was tooth and nail. Like, it was not a ton of productivity. It was not a high yards per carry. It was one good playoff game, and everything else in the last 5 games or so was a little bit like, So Texas needs to get better. Ohio State needs to get better. And they're going to have to do it against a defense that we may look at the end of the season and go, man, this Ohio State and Texas defense, they might be the 2 best defenses in the country. Yeah. With all due respect to Georgia, who might be going, whoa, hey,
yeah,
just because we don't play in week 1 against one of you guys, don't forget that we're here, and technically Georgia has the most amount of super blue chips of any program in the country entering the season. It's a small gap, about as small as Ohio State had over them a year ago. I think Ohio State's wide receiver unit is an edge over Texas. It just is. The Jeremiah Smith component, but they're deep at receiver. Now, you can't have a wide receiver discussion without having a quarterback discussion, and we will get to that. And I asked somebody in the comments section who was like, you're wrong, Catch. Ohio State is going to try to win this game with Julian Sayen's arm and those receivers. They're not going to do it with their running game. And I thought, okay, so how many pass attempts are we expecting Julian Sayen to have in the opener? Because I would contend, just like you could give me a number of Texas run game carries, we can get to a point where I'll go, if it's that many, Texas wins the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Julian Sayen pass attempt number. And God, this might be true of Arch as well. Like, if I just willy-nilly say one of these quarterbacks throws the ball 35 times.
35 is thick. My number for this game is 25. I think 25 attempts either way, you could win this game. You put together a hell of a game. You could beat the other team, not soundly, but you can beat them and try to keep it around 25 attempts. That'd be my goal, maybe for both sides.
If I say 35, though, what does your instincts tell you?
35 tells me you're probably trailing and you might be in a little trouble.
Bingo.
Tells me you're chasing a little bit. It tells me you got to be a little too aggressive. You got to be more aggressive in a way you weren't planning on.
So it will be interesting to see how the quarterback, I hear Ohio State fans talk about what they're expecting out of the passing attack. And it's like, guys, this is Julian Sayen's first career start.
Yep.
Like, if you're Texas and you win the coin toss, defer.
Yeah, both teams, but definitely Texas. Yes,
exactly. Both teams, but
put him in front of his own fan base that will murmur, rabble, threaten coaches' children like that. This group will turn, Catch. You know they will. They know they will. They're crazy.
So I think tight ends like running backs, though, where it's like the top 2. I gave this is somebody tried to give me the 0 for 18 stat yesterday as if that was my stat. I didn't invent that stat. I don't know where Chad got that from.
I told y'all it was from Sports Center. I'm trusting a Sports Center anchor. I didn't even do that research.
Somebody's like, Catch is making up stats. I hope they're wrong. I'm not even on the show yesterday.
That's not Catch. That's Julian saying. That is not Jeff Catch. Even in his. Come on now.
I'm just saying that's not. I love that pose, by the way. Is that the one that Colin Simmons put on his Instagram feed?
It must have been. It is a nice pose.
It didn't have over 18 on it, but
no.
Colin knows who Ohio State's starting quarterback is.
Yes, he does.
The top 2 receiving yards leaders at the tight end position among major Power 4 conference teams, Max Clare, Jack Indries. Both Ohio State and Texas literally had the same tight end issue coming into the offseason. What they do, they both just took the 2 best returning tight ends in college football and said, that's how we're going to deal with that problem. And you know why?
And it's weird too. Ohio State didn't really have a true badass tight end last year, but they figure we need one now. And Texas lost 60 catches out of a tight end. They knew they needed one. Like, yeah, we want to do that again. And like you've pointed out, now we got the battle of the 2 most sought after transfer tight ends in game 1.
And both of those guys I've seen get mentioned as day 2 NFL possible guys. Like,
oh yeah,
I think Claire is the guy that comes into this season and he's getting All-American mention, and Indries isn't really getting that. But I think there's a real. I bet their numbers end up being very comparable, assuming they both stay healthy. I think we're both looking at guys that are going to catch between 3 to 5 passes a game. And by the end of the year, they'll both have between 40, 50 catches, I think, in the regular season. So I think that position is close. I think you look at the offensive line. I don't know what to make of either offensive line.
Yeah, and then I think both fan bases might agree with you. I think they both might agree with you there. We're going to get to quarterback, offensive line, all the stuff about how close these 2 teams are.
Before we, real quick, we'll get to it. How close on a 1 to 10 scale for you mentally? Arch goes into that game as a what on the 10 scale as a quarterback, and what is saying? I'm just curious. And then we'll pay a bill.
Yeah, I mean, I think like maybe it's like, is it an 8 and a 7? Something like that? Am I overcooking both of them?
7.5 and 5.5.
Okay. And I'll admit, I've not seen Sayin enough to really.
These guys are both going to play in the NFL. It's just that one of them, and look, that's the conversation we're eventually going to have, is like.
Maybe it's 8 and 6. I don't know.
It's something like that. But
yeah.
Where will they eventually finish? Both could end up being the number 1 overall picks in NFL drafts.
Yeah, it's true. All right, we'll talk some offensive line coming up. Remember, get your setup straight with AV Consultations. If you do not have the setup you've always wanted, get it done. Look, we're 10 days away. They're not going to be able to get you hooked up by kickoff, but maybe by Thanksgiving, maybe by Christmas. Make it your Christmas gift to the whole damn family. Get that movie room you've always wanted. Maybe you just moved into a new house and you need to get something set up. Maybe you got a kid moving into college and you really want to send them off with a nice setup. AV Consultations can maybe go help you out there too. TVs where you never thought they could be, screens inside of mirrors like they do at Pluckers, and do all that. They do set up all the Pluckers, by the way, if you go out there. 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. Tell them you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live. They do incredible work. They've been doing it since 1988. Believe it or not. All right. So your offensive line question might be there's a lot of questions of the game ultimately, and the quarterback's probably the biggest thing.
Well, we can real quick, defense, not a whole lot between them, period, done.
Right. Well, my defensive line thing on these teams, Catch, is one of them lost big dogs on the edge, one of them lost big dogs in the middle.
Kind of as simple as that.
And fans are worried about those different things. Ohio State fans probably thinking, do I still have a dog that can make that play off the edge? Texas fans thinking, damn, are they going to be able to just run right at us because our D tackles aren't as good? But then offensive line, it is scary to me how similar this feels, where it's like the fans are talking themselves into something with the offensive line, but they know they don't have what they had last year. They know it.
And the question isn't like, is our line going to be okay? The question is, in the 2 or 3 times during the course of a season when these offensive lines play one of those defensive fronts. Because that's the thing about Texas last year. I'm so sick and tired of Texas fans talking about the Texas offensive line last year like it was trash. That offensive line was the best since 2006. Now, maybe that's faint praise because there hadn't been a lot of good offensive lines over the years, but you got to go back to 2006 where most of that 2005 offensive line came back and blocked for Colt McCoy. Since then, I don't even know what the candidates are.
Right.
They dominated the Michigan game. Like, we forget, like, that Michigan team ended up having a bunch of guys on defense drafted in the NFL. And the Texas offensive line ragdolled them.
Yep.
They went into College Station, and Quinn, whatever the hell Quinn was doing in that game, the offensive line was controlling the line of scrimmage, running the football.
Even for what that game wasn't for Texas, it was in the end a double-digit win in a hostile environment, just like it was in Fayetteville. And the offensive line was a huge reason.
Yet when they played Georgia and Ohio State, they got their asses kicked.
Yeah, it looked a little different. It's a different set of dudes, Catch. You know, they might even want to come up with a ranking system for those kind of – wait, you already did. It's called Super Blue Chips. Anyway, can continue.
Both of these two teams ultimately – the question they're going to have about their offensive lines are going to be when they get to January, not August 30th. When they get to January and they're asked once or twice, it's almost certainly in a semifinal or in a championship game to play one of these types of defenses. And there aren't that many. There are not that many teams that just walk around with 8 dudes that are going to play in the NFL in their front 6 or 7. Like Texas and Ohio State do, though. They do. And probably everybody on the defensive line is an NFL player. Some of them are first-round draft picks. Some of them play linebacker. I had Ohio State fans in the comments section talking about, I'll take the Ohio State linebackers over the Texas linebackers. And I was like, oh, you guys got an Anthony Hill? I didn't know that. Who's your Anthony Hill?
That's confident right there.
Who's your Anthony Hill? And it's like, but that's the type of conversation, position by position, that you go. The offensive lines, though, is so hard to be elite on the offensive line in college football. And it's what we probably won't give Jim Harbaugh enough credit for because they cheated. But the physicality that those Michigan teams had in the offensive line, not having 5 stars to build it around. Now, some guys they took in the portal, you know, they were able to take a left tackle who was an All-American one place. And then, you know, it helps when you're Michigan and you can do that. But it also, they did it before those guys came in. Harbaugh had a thing going where they were able to, on the offensive line, match, I think, in this type of matchup, weirdly, kind of pound for pound, man for man. They could get into a fist fight and their group could hold up. I don't know how many offensive lines in college football I really think that Ohio State offensive line a year ago didn't manhandle Texas. That's not what happened in that game. And they won't do it again this year. And I think both of those groups go into those games just for having doubts. And I don't know what to say yet about the Ohio State offensive line as it relates to last year. I do feel like I'm very confident that this Texas offensive line is not and will not be as good as the one that ultimately wasn't good enough a year ago. And what it's going to mean is that Texas is going to have to be better elsewhere to compensate for that. And the place where they're most likely to get that, if they're going to get it, is at the quarterback position. If Arch, the future number 1 pick in the draft, and he shows that in Ohio State, then great quarterback play and honestly great skill position players, and Ohio State does have some of those. They're the tide that lifts all boats. I always point, Chad, to the Cowboys. You get into that Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders conversation, and Detroit Lion fans or Barry Sanders supporters will say, the Cowboys have 5 All-Pros at the offensive line, and who couldn't play running back behind all of those incredible players? And it's like, guys, just so you know, Nate Newton, that was his 3rd team before he ended up at the Cowboys. And Mark Tuinei was a defensive lineman that they turned into an offensive lineman. And Kevin Gogan, nobody wanted to play him. You start going through it, and it's like, yeah, they drafted Eric Williams and eventually Larry Allen, but the rest of them dudes were journeymen. And then they put the greatest NFL running back of all time in the backfield, and guess what? All those dudes made All-Pro. And if Arch is that at the quarterback position, then the offensive line will be better. We will say things like, there will be offensive linemen on this Texas team that win postseason awards that probably weren't really good enough to win the awards, but when you put up badass offensive numbers, the awards follow. And Texas didn't have that a year ago. If they have it this year, it'll be the thing that lifts them over the top and beyond Ohio State, not just in this game in August, but in January, should there be a rematch. And I don't think that's been talked about enough going into this game. We looked at the Texas-Georgia game a year ago, and the first thing we said all season long was, these teams might play each other 3 times. Mm-hmm. These 2 teams really might play each other twice. And it might mean that they'll have played each other 3 times in 13 months when they play. All you Ohio State fans watching the video, y'all should subscribe to the channel. Bookmark it.
Might be coming back. Yep.
We might actually really get to know each other really even better before the season's over.
Yeah, we know one of these teams is guaranteed to play Georgia at least once, and if the other one does, we could have a hell of a round robin between those 3 teams. Michelle, you're dead on. Great quarterbacks, yes, can hide a lot of problems. I see those super chats. There's another one in support of Arch. Arch will show up. He's got 10 days to get ready for the game in Columbus, and you got 10 days to plan to join us at TCH Social Austin, right there by the aquarium. That's one of the 6 locations of Texas Card House. Come see us. Mention Orange Bloods when you check in. 1 month of free club membership, 2 hours of free poker play as well. You can also go online for hijackpoker.com. Get that $20 bonus when you sign up. Scan it, put it on any device you want, get to playing. You might beat Jeff Ketchum in virtual poker. It is possible. It has happened to some people.
It's not virtual.
No, it's
virtual. These are real people.
That's true. I guess the people are real, but the poker is technically online. So wouldn't that be virtual poker? Is that not right?
It's real though.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, they're like, I'm just saying, it's real money, real people.
Yes, that's fair. All right.
The
cards are virtual.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. It's online.
That's the only part that is.
They know what online poker is. I think they got it.
They won't be old enough. Okay.
Yeah. You're right. To be fair, that might have been an old man. They all know what it is, kids.
I had lunch yesterday with somebody, and I told them that back in the day in recruiting, there used to be 900 numbers, and that I once was involved in a 900 number. And the thing about doing 900 numbers is you would talk real slow.
Right.
So that you could add the minutes up.
Uh-huh.
It'd be like, today on the Texas Recruiting Hour update, it's HOUR.
Bevo, B-E-V.
And do you know what the response was? What's a 900 number?
What's a 900 number? Yeah. That's true. All I know is if there are people like me that are watching the late night Sports Center, there's an 800 hot girl call-in number. Did you know those are still out there?
Before I said there were 900 recruiting updates, I had to explain, really, for a long time, there was a whole industry that was, you called a phone number with a 900 prefix, when you gave them your credit card, and you talked to women.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know that stuff was still around. All right, let's grab these super chats real quick. I'm sorry, let's go with big money first. $4.99 is the bigger one from ATX Bates. This game equals good old-fashioned slobber knocker. Block, tackle, turnovers. Win those and you win the game. Biggest X factor might just be the kicking game. That can be true in a close game. Bates, what I want to see is
not the difference in the Texas-Georgia game.
No, not the Texas-Georgia game. But I do want to see, Bates, if Sark indeed trusts his new punter and his new kicker at a different level. If he does, that it could factor in to this game. It could be absolutely a factor. I'm really interested to see Bo Meester, man. I really want to see Bo Meester. Oh, look at the puppy. There's a puppy. What a puppy. What a puppy. There's a puppy. That's what I'm judging. There's a puppy. Yeah. All right. There you go. $2 super chat from Jay. Jerry H thinks UT is sandbagging a little about the O-line. Catch, I've seen this thought from both fan bases that their coaches are keeping things from the media, that they're hiding stuff. And saw an Ohio State fan that thought that Sayan is obviously the quarterback. They just wanted to make it seem like a battle. And then I've seen this too, that Texas fans are thinking, oh, no. They're telling you there's issues. They're telling you the defense is dominating, but the offensive line's really, really badass.
Jay, I do not say this towards the person that you're attributing this to. I don't know if they said that or not, but it's fucking stupid. Look, what are they? What's the sandbag? That all of the guys that a year ago weren't good are now better than last year's players? What are we talking about? Like, what is the sandbag? First of all, Trevor Guzman's hurt. It's not an imaginary injury. So,
yeah, like
that's not sandbagging. They're not giving him days off because they don't think he needs the work. He's hurt. And like this offensive line, I'm telling you right now, DJ Campbell is overrated. That dude's not a first-team All-SEC player. That dude a year ago was losing half of his reps to Cole Hudson, who's the lowest rated offensive lineman 3 consecutive years running. And oh, by the way, that guy's a starter this year. What is the sandbag that they're going to – let me see if I can work my head around this. Texas is sandbagging. By the way, I hadn't had a goddamn person at Texas sandbag it to me.
Yeah,
I don't know who's getting sandbag, but I have not had anybody go, Catch, keep up the question marks about the Texas offensive line because we are good. They are not going into that Ohio State game and winning that matchup.
Further from Jay, he thinks they feel better than they act about the guys who have been in the program for a long time.
That's true. Because what the hell else can you say otherwise?
When you did what you did or didn't, when you didn't do what you didn't do in the portal, what are your options?
No, like to say otherwise is to admit, A, that you made a mistake in not going to the portal.
Yeah.
And B, if you're like, hey, how's the offensive line looking? Well, we got no depth, and the dudes that we're leaning on this year haven't been as good as we need them to be. Oh, that should be on a Hallmark card.
That does not instill confidence. Yes. That's
look,
true.
You guys act like I want to be negative. That I want. Do you know what I want? I want Texas to win a national championship and go undefeated and win 70 games in a row. And I want our YouTube channel to be at like 500,000 subscribers. You know how that would happen? 5 consecutive Heisman trophies. Every offensive lineman on the team goes first round. Oh, my God. That's what we want? Like, don't think that when I'm about to go negative here, that I'm doing it because, like, it's my shtick. Oh, my God. You should have seen me in 2005. I promise you. I was a joy. The offensive line. And by the way, who the hell's been higher on Trevor Gooseby than I have been?
Yeah, only maybe his dad.
Not even him.
You think you're higher on Gooseby than his own father?
Who predicted that Trevor Gooseby would eventually be drafted higher than Kelvin Banks? This guy did.
That was you. Yeah, that's
so
true.
Let's not act like we're not having a healthy, nuanced conversation. The left guard is a question mark. Neto Yamuslo is the starter right now. He has nobody that's pushing him for that job. And I can't tell you that he's going to be a plus player. I can't.
Right.
And I cannot tell you that he's going to be a plus player against Ohio State. Cole Hudson's your starting center. I just got finished there, right? I don't need to say it again. 3 consecutive years. It's not that now he's not a good player. It's just that he's, at best, he's been average. But you know what? That average got him on the field last year because the guy next to him was so average that they kept rotating them. So the 2 guys, technically the 5th and the 6th lineman a year ago, right? Because only one starter was getting rotated. It was DJ Campbell. He's the only one that's back. And the guy that he's rotated with is playing. They're all old guys. There are no young guys other than Trevor Gooseby and Brandon Baker by default that they even have on the field. So, yeah, what they're saying publicly right now is we kind of like our old guys. We're comfortable with them. What else could they say? They're the number 1 team in the country. The one thing they're not going to say is, before a first game is played, shit. Kirk, I know you haven't asked the question yet, but I just want to say it out loud first. We might get pounded.
Come on.
Like in prison style.
Oh, Lord.
By Ohio State. That's what we think about our offensive line. No. The thing is, Texas fans have had a hard time wrapping their head around the fact that everywhere else on the field, this team is loaded with talent and had incoming talent and got help in the portal. They got quarterback in the portal and wide receivers in the portal, tight ends in the portal, D tackles in the portal. They got an edge guy that they got at linebacker, then moved him to edge. They went to the portal. They got special teams help in the portal. They didn't go offensive line in the portal. Yeah. Texas fans don't want to hear that last year's offensive line that was better than they think, but that they've trashed all offseason. They don't want to believe that this offensive line is not going to be better, even though there's literally no reason to think so. There's not one, like, I love Trevor Gooseby, but I can't say he's going to be better than Kelvin Banks. I think he's going to be drafted higher than Kelvin Banks. I would not dare say he's going to be as good as Kelvin Banks. We can go one by one down the line. Do I think that Neto's going to be as good as Hayden Connor? I don't. Do I think that Cole Hudson's going to be as good as Jake Majors, who, by the way, is probably going to make the Tampa Bay Bucks opening day 53-man roster? I do not think so. I don't really know what to think about DJ Campbell. And I can't really say I know what to think about Brandon Baker, but I don't think he's going to be better than Cam Williams was. What are we talking about?
Jay, that's what you call getting $2 worth out of a super chat. Thank you so much. If you want to send super chats, they'll go right to the top of the list.
What are we sandbagging?
We've got buy or sell coming up. I promise. We also have some of our great partners to thank, like Sinus and Snoring Special. Breathe, Catch, breathe. Just like all you need to be breathing well at night when you sleep. Look, go to orangebloods.com today. I put my 2%er thoughts out, including a great stat on Sark. What is Sark trying to do in 2025 that only Darrell Royal has ever done as a Texas coach? Go check it out, and you'll also see some videos with Sinus and Snoring, since they're nice enough to sponsor the column there. There's a couple videos you can look at talking about some of the things they do, including, if you've heard the word Inspire, it's a little bit of technology they have that actually I don't even fully understand how they do it, and moves the palate and moves the tongue. I don't even know how it all works, but they have all these different options, surgical and non-surgical, at Sinus and Snoring. Check them out, 601-0303. Go to sinussnoringent.com. You can find those same videos there, or check them out on Orange Bloods today. And please tell them you heard about it on OB Live. We would appreciate it. Buy or sell is coming up in just a second, but Catch may still have more to say on the offensive line. Catch.
I just have literally zero fear that we'll show up the Monday after the Ohio State game and be like, that Texas offensive line dominated Ohio State. Zero fear. I have zero fear we're also going to say that about Ohio State's offensive line against Texas.
I was going to say, you said the first part about Texas's offensive line, yet at this moment you would still pick Texas to win the game, correct?
Yeah, because it comes back to the quarterback position. And look, I think Julian Sayin is a baller. He's just a young guy making his first start. And look, I can remember, I don't even remember what game it was. It was in 2022. And I don't mean to call out Anwar, but he's okay with it. We talk about this on the shows all the time. It's a little bit of a running joke. Lord knows I've said stupid stuff, probably even in the last 2 minutes. But after one of the games in 2022, Anwar was like, that's it. I'm convinced after today that we've seen Quinn Ewers have his last, I can't remember what number he put on it, like 130 or 140 or something like that. But he was like, I think he was essentially saying we've seen Quinn play his last terrible game.
Okay. Last bad game. Yeah.
That he might have some average games, but we're past the point of a terrible game. And in the middle of that show, I was like, Anwar, he's still a quarterback making his first season as a starter. And Mama always said there would be days like that. So there could be a day, and it is not an indictment on Ewers, that he could go have the day that I think the next week was Stillwater. So literally, Anwar was like, he's never going to have a bad game again. And then the Oklahoma State game happened. And then we just didn't say that anymore.
And then after that, Texas just stopped losing on the road. They just.
That's true.
Mowing people down.
And they also stopped asking Quinn to throw the ball a whole bunch that year, too. He's like, hey, we're not going to remember that question. What's a bad number? Go back and look at what Quinn threw in Stillwater that year. That's a bad number.
Yeah.
If Arch or Sayin are throwing the ball Stillwater numbers 2022, it's a bad day in Loserville at that point. But it's also true of Arch. It is. I don't expect this season to go by without Arch Manning having a Mama always said there'd be days like this speech. He also is in his first year as a starter. It's not his first game as a starter, but it's not far away from that.
Right. 90 attempts for Arch, 12 for Sayin.
What these two quarterbacks have is the ultimate get out of jail card. Maybe not against each other, but one team might. It's that in any game they play in, their quarterback can have and what did we reference? Might have even been on Monday, Chad. Can have that Chris Sims versus Kansas first quarter.
Right.
Mama always said young quarterbacks can get picked off twice in the first quarter.
Yep, and they both go to the house.
And your rosters can be so good that you still win by 35 points.
Right.
And you'll look at the box score and you'll go, oh, Arch was 10 of 19 for 175 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. And Texas won 38-17. And we'll go, hey, it is awesome to be able to be terrible at quarterback and survive from it and learn from it. And we'll say things like Arch will be better because he played this game today and went through this experience. And it's true.
Yeah.
But you're naive if you think that your guy's the exception to the rule. One of the things I did with, I think it might have been Hudson Card. It was.
Here we go.
After Hudson Card's game against Arkansas.
Oh, jeez. Of all the games.
Hey, look, I'm not going to be deceitful about it. What did I say? I probably said something stupid about 2 weeks or 2 minutes ago. Here's me saying stupid like 3 years ago. Okay. I took the Hudson Card performance against Arkansas, and I simply pointed out, I went and looked up Peyton Manning's freshman year. I went and looked up Tom Brady's freshman year, or first year as a starter, I guess. And for Manning, that was as a freshman. And then I went and looked up Aaron Rodgers' first year as a starter at Cal. All of them had absolutely horrid, wretched days. Like, worse than Hudson Card at Arkansas, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard to believe, right?
Right.
And they still turned out to be arguably the three greatest quarterbacks that have ever played the sport. I just bring all this up to say there's not, I think, a ton of difference between the two positions. There is a slight difference, and I think in the first game of the season against the defenses they're playing against, Texas does have an advantage. But by game 16, and by the way, I have one of these in my buy or sell section for you, Chad. Mm-hmm. By game 16, if an Ohio State fan tells me today, when Texas plays Ohio State in January, Julian Saint's is going to be every bit as good as Arch Manning, I'll go, maybe. They both have a chance to be number one overall picks in the draft. That's who they're going to eventually become. Who are they on August 30th and who they're playing against? And then whatever the hell happens from there is really going to be apples and oranges versus both of these guys in January.
All right, I see your super chats. We're going to hear from Specs, and then I'm going to have Catch make a choice. Here we go.
This summer, when the sun scorches and sanity is one sweat beat away from collapse, a hero rises. Specs, your cathedral of cold cans, your oasis of cool.
All right, Catch, do we get these super chats or do we buy or sell?
Let's do rapid fire, buy or sell. We'll end on super chats.
Rapid fire, buy or sell. Fair enough. First or second?
I'll go first, partly because I don't think there's a need to spend a lot of time on all of my questions.
All right.
Buy or sell number one, Texas has a freshman receiver that catches 30-plus passes in the regular season.
A freshman that catches 30 or more. Whew.
They'll average out over 12 games, 2.5 per game.
Sell. A little bit below that. It'll be in the 20s, but not to 30.
Okay. I wondered if I'd put 25, if that would change.
Yeah. I'll sell the 30.
Buy or sell number two. You're feeling good about the Aggies going into the season. Nothing that you've heard during camp, no major injuries, like feeling pretty good.
Sell. That's not exactly what I would. Not that I'm feeling bad, but honestly, I don't know what my feeling is. I'm just going to need to see it play out a little bit. Beginnings of seasons is not what it's about for me right now. I'm looking for substance throughout. I'm looking for a finish that's decent, and I just don't trust things about this team. So sell.
Buy or sell number three. There will be a Texas-Ohio State Part 2 in January.
Let's just say bye. I mean, come on. Let's sell a fight. Let's sell a big fight. We're going to see it first. I think we will see a version of it. Maybe it's a weird round robin with Texas and Georgia. I think Texas and Georgia may have 2, but not 3. And then these 2. I think it's twice with each.
Texas might play Georgia and Ohio State twice this season each.
Yes. I think that could be true. So, yeah, I'm going to say, mainly because I want to see that happen, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to say there's a chapter 2.
Well, I want to see that because that probably means that Texas plays in a national championship.
Yeah, right. Depending on at least a semi, right?
Yeah, like
that's at least a Final Four game because they're seeding properly this year.
So it doesn't automatically mean that Texas and Georgia play in the SEC championship game either. Like,
no, that's true. That's true. But the 1 through 4 seeds will get treated properly this year, unlike last year. So that gives a better chance that that's a much higher level game.
Buy or sell number 4. I need to get a lock on my office door to keep the dogs out.
Sell. I'm a dog lover. I love seeing the dogs.
You like it when Harper just comes in and takes over?
I mean, I didn't think, honestly, Harper didn't take over. Harper came in and said hello.
Harper took over. By the way, I should not say her name out loud. She might be like, oh, Dad's inviting me.
No, just came in to say hello. And if your door doesn't close properly, I don't think a lock is going to help that. You just need to close the door.
Buy or sell number 5. Yeah. Ohio State fans in general, shittier human beings and Philly fans.
It's a hell of a battle.
I've experienced both.
You have, and I have. I'll admit I have not experienced both.
I've only been written about in a newspaper in the host city 4 days after the game played because of one group of fans.
I'm going to pick the group of fans that I have still yet to hear good things about from anyone that's journeyed there. I'll buy this one and go Ohio State. I think over my lifetime, I would here and there, I would have heard a good thing or two or three about an Eagles fan occasionally, or a Philly fan occasionally. So I'm going to buy it and take Ohio State. What would you do there?
Ohio State fans, if you're grumbling right now, oh my God, if you're clutching your pearls, do me a favor. After the game next Saturday, try not to call the Texas women in attendance the C word on the way out. It'd be a major step forward towards not being in this question again in the future.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. All right, Catch, here we go. Buy or sell number one. Both quarterbacks will throw a pick in Columbus in 10 days.
Buy. Yeah.
Okay. Buy or sell number two. The first kickoff of the D1 college season is a Big 12 clash this Saturday morning at 11. You can tell me one of the teams.
Buy. I can tell you both. It's Iowa State and Kansas State.
Well done. Well done. A ranked matchup as well. Iowa State, Kansas State. Hell yeah. I'll be checking it out. Buy or sell number three. Catch, the Cleveland Browns have named their QB1, and you can tell me his name. In his defense, people, there's like 6 of them. 7.
Sell.
Oh, so close. So close. Because you thought to yourself, they didn't really go with the 40-year-old man, did they? Yes, they did. Joe Flacco. It's Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, QB1. All right, Catch. Buy or sell number 4. A Netflix doc on Devo hits this week. You might check it out.
Might. Like, I haven't started watching the Cowboys doc yet.
There's a Cowboys doc on Netflix?
A 1990s Cowboys doc.
Ooh, well. Okay.
Buy or sell. A Netflix doc on the Cowboys in the 90s hits this week. You might check it out.
Forget about the might. I'm checking that out. It's the only positive Cowboy thing I got in my life right now, other than this awesome signed Bob Lilly jersey that Bo Edge just got me. That's all I've got in my life.
Oh, I want a picture of that. Go on.
Yeah. It's very cool. I'll get you a picture of that today. Finally, Catch, a happy birthday for Robert Plant. He's 77. Greatest frontman Mount Rushmore, no doubt, and he's not in spot number 4. Would you go that far with Robert Plant?
Yeah, bye.
Bye? Yeah, I kind of think that as well.
I kind of feel like there are 3 spots that are taken, and then we can argue about 4. And honestly, what do you do with the Beatles?
That's a good question. Yeah, you'd almost have to exempt them from the
conversation. There's no band that's ever been bigger than the Beatles.
Yeah, they don't really have a front man, though.
But yeah. John and Paul are both.
But see, that's what makes it interesting. Like, technically, the Beatles, the Eagles, Kiss, bands like that, they don't have front men. They have kind of a 2-part or 3-part.
You don't consider Don Henley a frontman for the Eagles?
No. I mean,
I'm just going to be the majority of their songs.
I'm going to go physical OCD here. He's literally the drummer a lot of the times, and that's not up front.
He's a goddamn singer of Hotel California.
No, I know. I know what you're saying. But in the Eagles, I could make an argument for like a weird 3-headed monster.
Yeah, but I've literally heard a member of the band say, we would write a song, and then it would be like, who should sing the song? And the answer would always be, well, who are you going to find that's going to sing a song better than Don Henley?
That's true. That makes him the best singer in the band. I don't know if that makes him the front man, but I guess it does in a way. Happy birthday to Robert Plant. All right.
Plant's in it. He was a front man.
Yeah. To me, it's like Plant, Mick Jagger, and then start having whatever discussion you want after that.
Well, I agree with you on 2 of those. I just wonder, what do we do with the Beatles?
Yeah. No, it's a good point. It's a good question. All right. Let's see if we can clean some super chats here. We have a good group of super chats. How about this one? $9.99 from Tracy. Considering the current Texas roster, which player do you envision as a potential finalist for the Outland? What are your expectations and predictions regarding average yards per rush and per game? Now, Outland is just offense, or is that defense too?
That's both. I'd probably say Colin Simmons.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I get to pick a defensive guy, that's absolutely where I was going.
My expectations, predictions regarding average yards per rush and per game. They'll rush for. It's so hard. It's not about what their season rush totals will be, although yards per carry, I think, is an important one. I'm going to go average yards per rush 5.0. I'm going to get them to 5.0. No rush for 200 yards plus a game.
No, Tracy, we appreciate the super chat as always. How about this one from Teddy? $9.99. Catch, other sites keep insisting that Owens is QB2. What's the confidence level that he actually wins the job, or does the staff trust Caldwell more?
I don't care what other sites are saying. Not playing Trey Owens if Arch Manning gets hurt in Ohio State. I think it's just not going to happen.
Okay.
Other sites are also saying that the Texas offensive line is apparently, I don't know.
Sandbagging.
We're sandbagging.
Sandbagging.
Go back to Tracy's question real quick. The buy or sell, do you have it?
I will get it for you. It was, you mean this one? No, sorry, that's not it. No, that's
Hold
not
on.
it. No, I didn't get it. Hang on.
Let me re-answer it. Tracy, was it Tracy that asked the question about the Outland Trophy?
Tracy asked that one, yes.
Every offensive lineman. I can't choose between them.
Yeah, here it is. Sorry, here's the one with the quarterbacks.
But not that one. The Outland Trophy one. Why are you putting up? I had another. I'm just saying. I was going to give a smart ass answer to this question, which is every single offensive lineman on the Texas roster. How can you choose between them?
It's a 5-way tie.
Tracy, they may literally have to cut the trophy into body parts and hand it to all 5 members of the roster.
Yeah, first time ever.
Cole Hudson, though, I got some money in on that one.
They're going to combine the Outland Trophy and the Moore Award. They're just going to combine the two of them. Give it to everybody. Yeah, 10 guys.
It's going to look like We Are the World up there when the trophy's handed out. Everybody's going to be on stage.
Yeah. Okay. From Girth Ketchum Catches Third Leg, $5 super chat. I can't believe I just read that out loud.
I cannot believe you read that out loud either.
Buy or sell, Cedric Baxter will have more total touchdowns this season than Trey Newton.
I don't know what I'm supposed to even do with this.
Yeah.
Did he mean Trey Wisner?
I'm assuming he meant Wise. If you meant Wisner, I'll sell. If you meant Newton, I'll buy.
No, I'm going to buy both. But Trey Newton had to retire because of concussions.
Yeah.
So
is it possible they jumped in there, created that name with your name in it because you made the mistake one time of calling him Trey Newton? Is that possible? That's a long way to go to spend $5.
Man. He's got 2 eyes in Cedric.
Well, Cedric.
But not 2 eyes in Girth.
But not 2 eyes in Girth. Oh, my God. All right, couple other real quick. Super chat, $2. Texas by double digits on the 30th. Good show, guys. We appreciate you, Longhorn Football Edits. Thank you for jumping in. And finally, Texas boy, $1.99 buy or sell Starbursts, better than Skittles. For me, that's a sell.
It's a sell.
Starbursts are good, though. There you go.
My wife did one of these things where she bought like the Halloween bag early.
Uh-huh.
And it was after we had the conversation.
So you went and killed some Skittles bags.
She bought it, I think, thinking that I was going to want them for the Sour Patch Kids. And she didn't realize that I had just had some Skittles and was on like the Skittles are the bomb. And so, yeah, I may have raided the bag of the Skittles.
That is fantastic. Thank you for that.
Those Skittles are not, my wife.
I sat here, you saying my wife, and I'd come, I go, what?
She did what I said Harper was going to do.
Mm-hmm. She went see Scooby-Doo.
She literally heard her name like I said the dog was going to do,
yeah,
and thought that was an invitation to come on the show.
Exactly. You got the Scooby-Doo reaction. It was fantastic. One other one, Jay, I will get that one before we get out of here. Real quick reminder.
Hey, real quick, Chad, buy or sell. I need to put a lock on the door so the wife and the dogs.
Now that's a buy. That's a buy for the wife. She's got the opposable thumb, so you're going to need a lock if you're going to try to keep both of them out. That's probably it. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Another good idea is heading out to the Deep Eddy Vodka tasting room. We're going to do it coming up on the 29th, 12 to 3. Come join us out there the Friday before Ohio State. I'm also about to head out there to celebrate Sherry's birthday. By the way, it's Sherry's birthday today. Today's the actual day.
Happy birthday!
Wednesday through Sunday is when they are open. And in fact, that's Sherry right there in the background celebrating her birthday a couple years ago. And we're going to go do it again very soon with one of those cocktails. Go check it out. Have some of the great Crimson Creek Smokehouse barbecue as well. And tell them you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live. It is so good out at the Deep Eddy Vodka tasting room. Can't wait for Ketch to see the scene out there. All right, Jay, you snuck one in. We'll get it in here real quick. $5. I feel incredibly confident Arch will do what we all hoped Quinn would do, but never did, and that is respond after a bad game and come out dialed. Okay? So Jay's telling us he thinks there's a bad game. Is that what you're saying, Jay?
I'm saying that too. He's saying that when the bad game eventually happens, the difference will be Arch won't hang his head. I don't know.
Right. The response could be different.
I don't want to put words. Jay's saying Arch will do better following the bad performance than Quinn did. And look, I guess Baylor was after that Oklahoma State game in 2022. And they just kind of took the ball out of his hands and leaned on Bijan and Roshan, which was
smart.
Literally the thing we were saying they should have done in the Oklahoma State game. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Like it is. Someone asked me yesterday, like how confident I am about Arch. And I'm like, I'm really confident, but I've been confident before and wrong. I once sat in the spring of 2010 at DKR next to this man right there that you see next to me. And Garrett Gilbert threw a touchdown pass in the spring game. And I was like, that's the reason he's going to have better stats this year than Colt had last year.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't anybody ever say, I know I call people out all the time. No one can ever say I don't talk about my own shenanigans.
You do that. You do that. $5 from Money B. Do we get an all 22 for the Ohio State game? We need to have a battle of the coordinators discussion.
Money B, I forgot about that. Yes.
All right.
Matter of fact, I won't make you wait till week 1 or like next week either. I may work on that this week. That'll be fun. I'm curious. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Money B looking for that all 22. All right. I think that'll just about do it. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, and getting your notifications. Thank you for helping us get that subscriber number on YouTube up as high as it is. Can't get to 8 million until you get to, 84,000 coming up? 80?
No, we're 84,213.
Oh, already over 84. 85,000 is the next one.
I mean, we didn't grow 7,000 subs today, but we're doing okay.
Come on now. Y'all have a good one. Over 600 of you in the Specs chat as we get ready to close. Thank you for the support. We'll be back for a Thursday show.